So thank you so much, Eric David Poulsen, for your time. We are very happy that you actually agreed to talk to us. If I can please start, how do you feel about what happened? I know that you yourself were badly impacted. If you could please describe about something about the whole situation.
Well, thanks for having us. And yeah, it's I've been speaking up for Maui down in Australia and on the mainland U.S. And thanks for the support of this. We suffered a devastating tragedy. Personally, yeah, I lost my house, but there's a lot of people that lost much, much more than that. So we count ourselves as blessed that we're here. My family is together. I've heard stories of 4 or 5 days later, north of the burn, where there was no cellular, no service, no water, um, and that struggle. In fact, a good friend of mine, I was on the phone with him for an hour this morning. So we landed very softly. We were on the central Maui and came right down this bypass just as they closed that next light, Hokio because of the fires. It raged all night, destroyed the town. From the initial footage, the aerial helicopter shots, we weren't sure if our house survived and our pets survived. So we came out Thursday on a jet ski to the beach, just right down here, and the whole neighborhood was gone. So, you know, I'm gonna count gratitude as my number one thing, not anger, not what the hell. I mean, our family, one of our truths is that Mother Nature always wins, and she won here, and that there was nothing that anyone could do. There's a lot of stuff that people can do moving forward. This is going to be years to rebuild a place. I lived for 30 years of my life. Yeah, raising my kids here, they're 12 and 15. We all love the ocean, and yeah, so it's been challenging. I feel that the county level and state and federal government are doing the best that they can, but the initial week was brutal for those that were stuck on that side. We turned around and went back to South Maui and had lights and water and gasoline for the car. And there was a struggle there, and I'd like to mention that it's that sense of ohana that everyone has here, because we have 2,500 miles of ocean all around us, and help doesn't come quickly. And so we know to turn to somebody, and if they can help us, they will. And I've heard countless stories of that, and that love we have for each other is what makes this place so special.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the strong sort of feeling of the community here that people are helping each other. You see many volunteers. I saw many, like sort of tents, and everyone is helping out. They were like, just grab your badge and, start working basically. And it's impressive. Like, so how did this develop, or and how would you compare this, like this community help versus the government help?
Well, I again can't really compare because we were safe in South Maui. That tent village that you talked about up in Kahana, my friend helped orchestrate that. His name's Gary Morgan. He's the guy I talked with this morning on the phone, and was all around on his electric motorcycle for 5 days, and he saw 6 police officers. So that was obviously a struggle. I did hear a heartwarming story that the very first fuel that made it to the West Maui Northwest came from Molokai. They pumped gas and brought it over in boats and got it to the beach and filled up people's cars because it's amazing how much we rely on cell phones, and we rely on electricity for everything. And when that's gone, it goes out here, but it doesn't go out for days and days and days. And it was just a devastating phenomenon. But yeah, as far as that support goes on the Northwest side, I know it was lacking originally. Um, we again, we're trying to stay more in the level of gratefulness and acceptance of what happened, and then just where are we now and what do we do next.
And can I ask you, what do you think during the time it happened? There are conversations about like why they didn't turn on the sirens, because they said it's not a tsunami, but if you look at the website, it's actually all natural disasters. What do you think of that? Like,
Well, I've heard the other side of that coin that they didn't want to turn on the sirens because people would go to
Yeah.
them up. And I've been on a beach and the sirens were tested, and I saw everyone scrambling off the beach and back to where they were. So again, that, and yeah, was that fire really 100% contained? That was what we heard when we left. There's a lot of that, but again, I don't know what that does to point a finger or ask a question or get mad, except for slow you down on where you want to go. And that's where I want to go, is make this a semi-normal life for my kids again and be able to be back in that rhythm of this island. um, it was hard, and yeah, we can get mad and question, but for me, it's, I'm grateful that I'm alive and my family was with me and not separated from me.
Thank you. And how did you learn about it? How do you find the whole media coverage of the story?
Well, that's interesting. We came back around the corner and I could show you pictures of what I saw. Down power lines, trees uprooted, the water, the ocean was white above the surface. The winds were blowing so hard. And of course, there was black billowing smoke where those clouds are. And black smoke means, that's human, whatever. And I tried to get to my house, but the road was blocked by trucks because of all the down power lines. We went back to Kihei. They had data, they had power, they had Wi-Fi, and so we saw the coverage. And I had a friend actually in this neighborhood kind of texting me and telling me where the fire was. We had hoped that it would go north of where we live, but it ended up, I guess, coming down here and pinching back into the south side of Lahaina. And yeah, our house on Front Street, I saw it Thursday, and there's nothing left. Aluminum melted. There's no way to know what's there. Yeah.
So you cannot get there.
Oh no, they have it roped off, gated off. I would have brought you there for this interview, but there's a lot of military and police, and yeah, they're guarding that carefully. And it's, we'd like to know if I could find my wedding ring and my wife's engagement ring. And I did. I found a Christmas ornament that was pure porcelain that I gave to my daughter when she was 5, and that was always her ornament. I was able to find it; it was still intact. So it was that thing that I could get back from our house. We miss our pets the most. That was really why I went, to see if our bunnies and our cats still survived, but nothing would have survived that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. It's really a tragedy, and unfortunately, we spoke to the soldiers, and they even told us that the bodies are still there. That many people are still basically laying their death because they
Yeah,
didn't go through it. They didn't. They are
they couldn't get
like.
out. Yeah, they couldn't. I mean, I've heard they could not get out, but frankly, I don't know if there's bodies left. I think it's teeth because it was that hot and that windy. The sadder story is how many people got in the ocean, and there was so much smoke they went out further, and then the wind was so strong they got blown to the ocean. So that'll be over 100 bodies, I don't doubt. But again, how do you know? It's going to be a matter of elimination. And my heart goes out to the families that lost aunties and uncles and nephews. And it's just, that's the hard part. So that's again where we're staying, is we didn't suffer. We are, you know, we're very grateful for all the blessings that we have.
And yesterday was here President Biden. What do you make of his visit? Are you happy he came, or do you think he should have come earlier? What do you make of that?
I don't know. I do know that they closed the road up where we're staying now. We had enough of the closed highways. Again, though, I'll go back to the levels of government doing the best that they can. No one is saying like, "Nah, let's watch the end of the game and we'll get to it." You know what I mean? It's like it's coming, but again, due to the remote nature of the state of Hawaii, it's a hard place to support. They're here now. His arrival, we were happy to hear that it was declared national disaster, and so hopefully we get the pieces in place to support us. And the support has been there, and it's not from just the government; it's from each other.
Yeah, I think that it's one of the reasons why there is, I personally believe, could be more media coverage because it's so remote. It's hard to get here. It's expensive. Trip hotels are expensive. How do you find the media coverage from the mainland? Do you think it should be better, or do you think it's good enough?
Well, you know, for me, when it started and then the media was all over and world news, the media is going to cover what they think is the biggest news, and that's what it is. I mean, oh, here comes a hurricane for California, and then suddenly what, Maui? You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, it's you're the third interview I've done. I talked to Sunrise in Australia. My kids were just on Good Morning America. Um, so yeah, I guess it's here, and I see some headlines, but you know how it is. It's like this is today's news, and then we got tomorrow's news. So I'm just rolling with that. I'm not concerned about the coverage, but I am concerned that this area gets the support, any support that it can get, because there's been a lot of pain.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to keep it in the news so people
Yeah.
are aware of it and
Yeah.
that help is coming.
Yeah, and tragically, it's going to be the body count that keeps it in the news, and it's slow going because what remains there, I don't know, and what people went out to see, that's going to be a large number.
Yeah, and what do President Biden also promised to give everyone affected $700. Like, how big impact do you think $700 gonna have in this case?
Well, you mentioned the expense of media coverage out here. The expense to live here is enormous. The grocery store used to be $150, and then it was $300 to feed a family of four, and that's per trip. So I don't doubt that there will be more support coming. I have found that by diligently working on that website and seeing what there is. The two companies I work for, Keller Williams, has been incredibly supportive to us financially and finding a place to live. And my company out in Michigan, Tracker, same thing. Here's money. You're good. Take care of what you got to take care of, and then talk to us. And I'm in the state of Hawaii for them, so it's been good. The support around us, our extended ohana, mahalo for that, because without that, it would be different. Yeah.
Thank you. And what's like, can you actually get more money from the government? What can you do to sort of your house? Of course, there is not
Yeah.
much left, but can you do anything about it in terms of finances?
Well, there's the FEMA said get a SBA loan, and I knew I wouldn't be approved for the loan, so I applied for it. Now apparently FEMA will still grant that. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's next. I do know that I can afford to put gas in the car and feed my family right now, and that's the main thing. Where we go from there, I don't know. And it's not going to be the government again. It's going to be what opportunities come, and yeah, taking care of my family.
And did you have some like friends or neighbors? What are they doing now? Like, where are they staying actually? Some of them
Yeah.
went to hotels, but where is the rest? Not everyone.
It's going to be hard. We actually a very dear friend that has stayed at our house when we would go on ski trips. He lives in Dana Point, California. He found us a place to live on the northwest side, and it was a friend of his, its mom, and so we're there. And funny enough, I just ran into an old neighbor who's also staying up in this place called the Vintage. So the lack of long term is going to be a challenge. That let's stay in a hotel for 30 or 60 days, then what? Because there's nothing there. There's no. There were a lot of families that lived there, a lot of multi-generational families, and that's going to be the real question mark. 60 days from now, when the hotels are reopened, who's here to work there? Yeah.
And a little bit change of the topic. There are many speculations or many talks. Who's this fault? Is it the electric company? Like, what's in your community going around as being the reason for such a big fire?
Yeah, there's a lot of different, beliefs. And again, for me, where I am almost a couple weeks out of this tragedy, I'm not joining that party. I don't have a guess. I know that that wind was wind that comes like once a decade off that mountain, and whether it was because of the hurricane or the high pressure, I don't know. But I do know that that wind can come, and it came, and it was ignited, and yeah, I'm not pointing fingers on whose fault. I'm certainly more of respect Mother Nature. If you surf and you go out on a day that's a little too big for you, it's the same feeling. It's like helplessness and humbleness, and that's part of living here. That's part of the power of those mountains, and I embrace it. This is horrible, but it's just again a reminder of who's really running the show, and it's not FEMA, and it's not me. it's this. Yeah.
And if I can last question, some of the houses survived. It's sort of you have ashes and house ashes. It's sort of shocking.
Yeah.
Why do you think is that?
I don't know. I mean, it's across Front Street from our house is a new build mansion, and it doesn't look like there was a fire. So I don't know how that happened. And the house next to him, a guy we love, Larry, old style house, also untouched. Um, we have some friends that live in a major burn zone up on the north side of Lahaina in Waiheikuli, and their house is standing, but everything else around is gone. So I mean, how is that? My heart goes out to them. Other friends at North Lahaina, their townhome was one of the survivors. They can't live there right now, but yeah, it was indiscriminate. It's amazing how many churches are still standing. I mean, that's it. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, nature is ruthless.
Thank you so much, Eric, for your time. It was a pleasure, and I'm so sorry.